So, Mike Keegan, who seems to be the man when it comes to takeover news regarding Manchester United, he's always the first person to say something, then the next day every other reliable journalist goes and says the same thing. He's really brilliant, like he's the go-to person when it comes to United takeover news, and he's come out with a big update. Now, he said just the other day that the second bids were going in, Jim Ratcliffe, one other group, and Qatar, while obviously having a meeting with the Glazers, or the representatives will be meeting the Raine Group who represent the Glazers, for the sale regarding the second bids. Now, he's come out with a big report today that suggests that the sale could be moving quite quickly, saying that Qatar will be going to Manchester next Thursday. Other groups will be expected in Manchester this and next week, so not just Qatar, other groups as well, but saying Qatar seem to be pole position, Qatar seem to be the favourites, and they're in Manchester, next week, as with other groups, to try and hurry up and get a deal sort of sorted. It said like the aim of the Raine Group is to get the takeover of Manchester United sorted by the end of March, first quarter of 2023, and this report suggests that potentially everyone going to Manchester to do the next stage of the bidding could be to speed up the deal, and potentially new owners could be sorted by this time next month. And obviously we know Qatar want to get in early because they've got big summer transfer plans. So let's get into everything Mike Keegan has said. It's a really good informing report, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to dive right into it, and then also after that we're going to touch upon some transfer news. More news has come out about players Manchester United plan to buy and sell. Julian Timber apparently is really high on 10 Orgs list, and actually it's a striker, a defender and box-to-box player that are 10 Orgs 3 priorities, and Julian Timber is the centre-back / right-back kind of identified. But let's dive into what Mike Keegan's had to say, because this is big news. He said just in the next stage of the battle for Manchester United has already started, with groups due in Manchester from Thursday. He said the Qatar-based bid for Manchester United will fly to Manchester next week. Those from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's team are also due a visit to Manchester as US bankers as well. Raine Group seek to thrash out the deal. So what he's saying is the next stage of the battle has begun, the second bids have gone in, they're going to get more information or going in, and that Qatar and other groups will be flying out to Manchester to meet representatives of the Glazers to get the deal sped up. He's then saying the Raine Group want this deal to move quickly. So Qatar, Sir Jim and a US bank, which is probably the minority investment, which we need to watch out for because they're very quiet and we do not want a minority investment, have got a meeting, and the Raine Group want this get this meeting done quick so they can get it in, get the investment in, get the new owners in, bosh, by the end of the month. That is the plan, that's always been the plan, and I will give you confidence in the full sale. The plan has always been the full sale by the end of March. It could be the minority sale by the end of March, that could be the plan, and we could see the Glazers stay and they get a minority stake. But the Glazers, the Raine Group's intention has always been full sale, and Rob Dawson said 2 days ago the plan is still the full sale of United. So either the plan is full sale, they're going to stick with the full sale, or the Glazers have had a twist apart, they've got greasy and they want a minority stake, or they're putting out this minority stake stuff to get more money from Qatar in this second bid which is coming, because they want Qatar to be scared that they might accept the other bid because it's minority stake, so they want Qatar to give them the 6 billion they want. They're potential reasons. It was said it's unlikely that Sheikh, Jassim, Sir Jim Ratcliffe or United's owners, the Glazer family, will be present at the summits next week. Instead, a financial advisor and executive figures from the bidders, United and Raine, are set to exchange information. So basically their representatives, their financial representatives, will go to the meeting. It's unlikely that it will be a face-to-face with Glazers and Qatar, which obviously checks out. It was then followed up by saying, there seems to be a quiet confidence among Qatar-based bid for Manchester United, which is viewed in some quarters as the favourite. Now, Mike Keegan is the guy to go to when it comes to news. He's the one telling us all this information before anyone. He's the one that's been talking about the sale before anyone. Everything on Qatar, he gets to first, and everyone confirms it. Like, he is the guy when it comes to the news. He is saying, second round of bidding, Qatar, this group flying out, the Raine Group want this done by the month, Qatar are the favourites. He gets the impression Qatar are the favourites, and he's been right with everything else. He gets the impression the Raine Group want to get this done by the end of March. He's been right about everything else as well. This was followed up by saying Justin, Raine have invited at least 4 bidding groups into the second round, with the Qatari group fronted by Sheikh Jassim thought to be the favourite ahead of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. So apparently it's 4 groups, so maybe we know one's a minority group in the US, we know one's Sir Jim, and we know one is obviously Qatar. We don't know what the other one is. Only 3 of them apparently have been invited to the Manchester thing. Not sure, or maybe that was just a little mistake. But he's saying Qatar is set to be the favourite. He is the guy that knows all the information, knows everything that seems to be going on with the process before everyone else. And he again is saying Qatar is the favourite. Qatari journalists are saying they're the favourite. Qatari journalists, to the news that the Glazers are reluctant to sell, were saying, no, it's going to happen, trust me, Qatar is strong, Qatar's going to get this done by the end of the month, Qatar will be the favourite. Those out in Qatar, despite a lot of speculative news that the Glazers could stay, have been very confident that Qatar are going to be the next owners. They say Qatar want this, Qatar have the money. If Qatar want something and they have the money, something, they'll do it. They say, look at the World Cup, they paid a lot, they made that happen, they like football. They want United, they want the Premier League, he'll pay a lot, he'll make that happen. There's also the belief that, you know, Mike Ashley did this with the Saudis. Oh, I don't know if I want to sell or not. He obviously sold them in the end. It could just be a big negotiation tactic. But the news coming out, again, meeting next week in Manchester, Raine Group want to get this process sped along, they want to get this sorted, and Qatar are the favourites. So potentially Qatar going to Manchester and could be owners of United next month, potentially. But it also could be a minority stake, it could be Jim. We don't know what the second bids are going to be. Qatar can see the financials and pull out, but from everything we're hearing, which is from reliable sources, Qatar look like the people that, you know, no one will be able to match their bid. They want this, they'll make this happen. There seems to be news in Qatar saying that Qatar will do what they can to make this happen. They're determined, boom. It was also said that some close to the Manchester United sale process feel that Joe and Avram Glazer may seek to remain in some capacity by United's resurgence under Ten Hag. Basically, because we're doing well under Ten Hag, because when we do well, we generate more money, the value of the club goes up. The Glazers do think about staying. Hopefully that 7-0 Liverpool has really put them off staying. Hopefully that could be the positive to get out of it. But the Glazers maybe think about staying because Ten Hag is doing well. I'm hoping this is a negotiation tactic from the Glazers because they know how much money Qatar have and they want a higher bid from them. But it is possible that they have the minority stake investment they want and they are thinking about staying because Ten Hag's doing well. They're saying we could start generating some money, but we know there'll be fan outrage, and maybe that's why they asked Raine to shush all the groups up, because if the fans get excited about Qatar and they stay, the outrage will be bigger. And that's something, you know, you can't put that past the Glazers staying. I think if Qatar give them 6 billion, I think they will go. But it's will Qatar push to 6 billion because it's not worth 6 billion in the club as well. I'm hoping the 7-0 defeat does some good in that sense of basically, maybe hopefully convinces the Glazers to go. It was said just then there remains hope that a deal for Manchester United could be struck before the end of the first quarter, although the process would have to accelerate. So the goal is still get the deal done by the end of the first quarter, which is sort of by April. And it was said the next round of Manchester United sale talks will take place predominantly at Old Trafford, with the bidders given the opportunity to assess what is required to redevelop the stadium as well as the club's training ground and additional costs as much as 2 billion. This is the process going on. They're inviting people in, and they also, big part of this is going to assess what it would cost to redevelop United. That does worry me, minority and stake investors coming in and assessing the cost to redevelop United. You know, the Glazers already making plans. I think for me it's between Qatar and minority stake, and I couldn't tell you which way the Glazers is going to go. But I think if Qatar are determined, if the reports from Qatar are true, from Qatari journalists, I think Qatar are edging it 70-30 right now. It was followed up by saying that Qatar want to be in place in time for the transfer window to ensure they can arm Ten Hag with substantial funds as well, is what Mike Keegan said. So Qatar want the club. The Glazers aren't sure between full sale or minority sale, but Qatar are the favourite and they want to get this process done quick. Second round of bidding comes in, I think they're looking at what the offers will be, and I think they'll just give it to the best offer, which is going to suit them the most financially, because that's how the Glazers work. But we also got a bit of information regarding Manchester United's transfer plan. It was said by Graham Bailey that United are also ready to offload captain Harry Maguire and would ultimately like to find an option at centre-half that is comfortable covering Varane. He said, you know, Timber was one of United manager Erik ten Hag's primary target upon joining the club, and the interest remained for the 21-year-old, and one source close to Ajax said Ten Hag would take Timber tomorrow if presented with the opportunity. Now, Graham Bailey is potentially suggesting that, you know, Man United would like to sell Maguire and replace it with Jurriën Timber. This checks out with his other report that said that United have prioritised the signing of a central midfielder and a new striker, but are understood to be looking at an upgrade in both central defence and right back should the right player come available, which Jurriën Timber is more of a centre-back, but he can almost fill in at right back. And I think that what Graham Bailey's saying, he's not a tier 1 journalist, he's not like a super reliable journalist, but we know we want a striker, which is Victor Osimhen, Harry Kane. They seem to be the main two we're interested in. I do think, you know, there's other strikers out there, Goncalo Ramos we've had an eye on, Vlahovic we've had an eye on. I think Osimhen Drews playing in the Premier League. Apparently we've had positive talks with Kane, apparently we're in for Goncalo Ramos, but in for all of these strikers. I think come transfer window we'll kind of know which striker it's most likely to be. We obviously know we need a midfielder. Frankie de Jong is the dream. Whether we'll get him, that waits to be seen. And then it seems that the third position is going to be a defender. Now, it was said that Ten Hag wanted 3 key signings, and then I think the other signings would be maybe smaller depth-based signings. And that kind of checks out. I maybe thought David Raya at goalkeeper could be one we look at as well. But that is your big update on what's going on with the takeover so far. Mike Keegan's kept us up to date on what's going on with the takeover, and I expect next week when Qatar have that meeting, things to really accelerate. Mid-March, I think the news is really going to accelerate on the takeover, so do subscribe for that. And of course, a transfer update. Smash like, smash subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.